This thing happened to me while I was at college. From 2021 to 2023, I went to the University of Huddersfield. Since it's not known for its nightlife, a lot of students stay up late on campus, especially in the academic buildings and library, which are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I usually don't stay out late, but I had to this year because of something else. I was taking a class on advanced statistics, and our teacher was known for giving us a lot of work. One of the most important projects was almost due, but I hadn't done as much work as I should have. I chose to use the computers in the business building because my laptop was giving me trouble. The business building is not very close to the rest of the school. The building is 3 stories tall and looks pretty old. It's always been very quiet, especially at night. But the computer lab on the 2nd floor was pretty empty after 9 p.m., so I thought that was the best spot to concentrate. I got there that night around 10 o'clock. As soon as I walked inside, I could tell it was much colder than outside. The school was already very quiet. The door opened when I swabbed my student ID and heard the beep. There was a strong smell of cleaning chemicals all over the place, so I wouldn't run into any of the cleaning staff because they were already through the building. I went right to the computer lab, turned on one of the computers, and got to work. It wasn't bad for a while. The quiet was broken by the computer's hum and the tapping of my keys. I looked at the clock in the corner of the screen over and over to tell myself that I had to leave before midnight. Something strange did happen around 11:30 though. A door slamming shut down the hall was the sound I heard while I was looking through some data. It's not the front door. It came from inside the building. I ignored it at first. It could have been the air conditioner or the cleaner. I thought about how the cleaners had already been through and were long gone by this point. I tried not to think about it and kept working. But then there were steps. Heavy, slow footsteps can be heard coming from the hallway outside the lab. They were not in a hurry, and they did not pass out. It seemed like whoever it was wanted to be heard as they walked. I stood still in my chair and stared at the computer screen, hoping they were just going by. The stairs, on the other hand, ended right outside the lab door. If I leaned back, I could see through the door's small window, but I didn't want to. I held my breath and sat there. I heard the door handle rattling after about 10 seconds. It wasn't like someone was just trying it for fun. Someone was trying to scare me on purpose. The person who had it wanted to open it but couldn't. My heart began to beat fast. After a while, the lab doors locked themselves. I knew they shouldn't be able to just walk in though. But it made me sick how they kept shaking the handle. The sound stopped after about 30 seconds. The footsteps came back and moved more slowly down the hall until they stopped. I didn't say a word while I thought about whether I should just leave. But my project was due the next morning, and I thought it might have been just another student having fun. I tried to convince myself of that, and then I typed again. I didn't wait 10 minutes before I heard it again. Steps. They didn't come from the hallway this time, though. They were higher than me. There are those thin panels on the roof of that building, and when the heat comes on, you can sometimes hear the pipes. It wasn't pipes, though. The sound was clearly someone crawling or pulling themselves right on top of the tiles. I looked up, scared of what I might see. It was clear that one of the tiles was under some weight because I could see it move a little. Then there was a slow creak that sounded like someone lowering themselves slowly so as not to be heard. I was done at this point. My flash drive came out of my pocket, my notebook went into my bag, and I ran for the door. It felt like I was in a different world as soon as I walked into the hallway. The buzzing fluorescent lights gave the hall a dark glow, and the only sound I could hear was my sneakers squeaking on the tiles. I tried not to run and walked quickly. When I got to the staircase, I pushed the door open and began going down. I messed up when I looked up at that point. There was a man on the landing above me, just 1 floor up. He was neither a student nor a teacher. It looked like he didn't belong there because his clothes were too big and torn. He had some shade on his face, but I could tell that his mouth was wide open, like he was grinning really big. He didn't move. He did nothing but stand there and look at me. I ran away. I almost fell as I ran down the stairs. I slammed the door on the first floor and ran for the front door. My ID card just barely worked fast enough to get in, but as soon as it clicked, I pushed it open and ran across campus without stopping. I kept going until I got to my room and locked the door behind me. I leaned my back against the door to catch my breath. I only went back the next morning because I had to turn in the work. It felt like a whole different place when I walked into the office building during the day. I saw something, though, that made my stomach drop. I saw that there was a hole in the ceiling. The tile I saw moving was in the corner, and the one above where I was working was right above that. It felt like someone had been watching me work and then shook the door handle to intentionally bother me. When they found that the door was locked, they climbed back up into the attic and went in that way. What was his plan if he went into the lab before I did? I dread to think about it. Yes, I'm definitely going to buy a new laptop so that I can do my work from the comfort of my own room in the future. Stories like this make you realize how vulnerable people can be when they think they're alone. What do you think that man was planning that night? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We'll see you in the next one. When the lights are off and the halls are empty,